Welcome along, Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with pack 66, 67 and 68 in part 39 of this beautiful 1/6 scale Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 from 1967. If you want to get one of these, you want to have a build and or have a look at cost it up and everything, in the description down below the video, get down there, have a look, there's a link, go on and have a look and get yourself one. Find out how much it's going to cost you and everything. So, going into the magazine as we always do, here's pack 66, as we know, and we've got all the information there for customer services and everything like that. So the first story in this magazine is Mustang Racing Women Behind the Wheel. In the world of motorsports, two female Mustang drivers have been particularly impressive. In the 70s and 80s, Lynn St. James scored excellent results in circuit races, and since 2010, Courtney Force has been a star of drag racing. They've also missed out another young lady, and I forget her name, but she's been racing in GT4, I think she's racing GT4 Mustangs, and she's been doing quite well, I think. So there's someone they missed out, and that is as late as 2024, so there we go. So Lynn St. James in action at a Roush Racing Mustang during the IMSA GT race at Columbus, Ohio. Nice. And then here we have Courtney Force in her dad's the John Force, really famous Mustang drag racer. Well, you call it a Mustang, it's really not, but it has a Mustang horse on the front. There we go. So there we've got the parts that go with the magazine. And then there's the instructions on how to assemble it all. And then here we've got the Ford C100, Ford's Group C. Oh yes, love Group C, one of my favourite forms of racing. Beautiful little car. Klaus Ludwig achieved pole position, but could not finish the race, unfortunately. Destination Le Mans, 1981, 24 hours in Le Mans, but the project underwent a number of delays, forcing the team to postpone the new prototype's first race to the 1,000 kilometres of Brands Hatch. Now, as you will see in future videos of mine, if you follow my channel, you will see that this is a period of time that I'm very interested in. You can see here this beautiful Ford C100, and then here we have a picture of the car in the pits. And what's of more interest to me is what's behind. There's two Lancia Monte Carlos there with their back ends up. They are Group 5 Monte Carlos, and those cars are probably my favourite race car of all time. Probably. I built a replica of one. It's now in Italy being rebuilt with all original running gear. So I built it with running gear that I made up. But if you look around, if you find the car, please let me know in a link. I'd love to see that car, what's happening to it. But I sold it because I split up my missus. I couldn't afford a house big enough to put it in. So, or the garage big enough to put it in, because it was 6'6" wide. Group 5 regulations, huge car. And yeah, unfortunately I had to sell it, and I sold it to a guy called Ian Mackay, and then Ian Mackay has recently sold it as late as I think October last year to a team in Italy who have all the original running gear. So that car will actually end up, it won't be in my ownership, but it will end up as I would love to have seen it. So that's really cool. So yeah, Group 5 Monte Carlos. Watch it if you like these cars and you like this form of racing. Watch this channel. There's a lot coming. I've got a lot to show you. So there we are. In 1982, the car evolved significantly. The monocoque of the 4 units built that year with the honeycomb structure was more rigid. As for the shape of the body, the nose was modified to include square headlights, while the rear was shortened. There we go, and you can see it there. And then this is what the supervan was based upon. The two supervans were based upon an actual Ford C100. So there you go. And there we are. So looking in the magazine, if we look at pack 66, we can see here we have floor mats, sticky inserts and seat belts, which is exactly the same as pack 65. So I've gone ahead and done it. So let's have a look. And I've also done the seat belts. Now, thinking about where I could get some seatbelt material from, I suddenly remembered I bought some 12th scale seatbelt sets. So these are actually 12th scale racing harnesses. And luckily in those sets you get red, blue and black harnesses. So obviously I'm not going to use the black on a race car. They'll either be red for Seabelt or they'll be blue for Willans. So I used the black, and they're slightly narrower. This is the original material. So you can see it's slightly narrower, but hey, it's absolutely fine. So we've actually got our seat belts in, and because pack 66 is exactly the same as pack 65, just working on, I'm going to chuck that seat belt down there, just working on the passenger side rather than the driver's side. I've gone on and done it. You can see I've got the mats in there. You can see in there we've got the mats there and there, and the seats obviously in with the seat belts and everything all done. Okay, so there we are. I'm intrigued to see what the other slots are going to be for. I'm not sure if we're going to get, I mean, there's not going to be a shoulder strap, is there? Not in 1967. Unbelievable to think, though, in this car that probably had all the crash protection of a crisp packet, you know, and that's your seatbelt. Oh dear! Imagine hitting a wall. Oh dear. So yeah, so that's pack 66 finished. Let's have a look at pack 67. There we go. There's the sound of my Mustang with its big exhaust on it. There we go. So pack 67. So the Mustang 3, a unique prototype. Wow, never even heard of this. One of the most intriguing of the early Mustang design concepts was two-seater prototype, the Mustang 3, which never went into production. The only one that was ever built still survived and is now worth a small fortune. Bloody hell. Never knew that existed. But there it is, in the flesh. That's a great looking little car, isn't it? It looks like it's been shortened. There's those seat belts just laying on the seat. Stolen and sold. He decided to save it from being scrapped without giving much thought. Without asking permission or telling anyone about it, he spirited the car away and walled it up in a small warehouse in Inkster, Michigan, which he had rented specifically for the purpose. At Ford, no one really worried about the disappearance of the car while in the company's care. Ford simply reported the theft to its insurer, and DST was duly compensated with a cheque for upwards of $10,000. It remained hidden for several months. It sold for $511,000 in 2015. Okay, so we're going to be doing some work on the rear seat area. So here we go. Charles Nash, the forgotten pioneer. Charles Nash gave up working on a farm and job stuffing upholstery in a company which was making electric cars. From this lowly beginning, he went on to become one of the auto industry's leading innovators. Today, however, he is all but forgotten. Yeah. What if it was anything to do with Fraser Nash? That was another company, wasn't it? Beautiful looking car. There's the Nash Metropolitan. I remember seeing these on the road. It was built by the Austin Motor Company in the UK, and today is a sought after collector's piece. I haven't seen one for years, but I do remember seeing them on the road. And then off-road truck racing. Wonderful. So that's got Traxxas on it. Traxxas is a radio control company. They're about to be sued for millions of dollars, aren't they? There we go, some beautiful trucks there doing their big jumps and everything. Incredible to see this. When they all jump, it's like suspension travel on them is absolutely incredible. So there we go. So let's have a look at what we've got in pack 67. Support for the rear seats. So we have the parts here. Here is the bag. Le bag. We've got to try not to damage anything. If you remember back in 65, I managed to destroy my seat belts. Right, so we've got the actual plastic tray here, and this one is broken, unfortunately. So we will attempt to repair that in a minute. And then we have some screws. So we have PS08s and PS25 screws. So that's cool. So I'm going to get this repaired. It's just a case of that snapped off. It's just a case of getting some. I'm going to use some Tamiya quick setting liquid glue. Put that in there, and then pull that over and close it up, and that should give us a good sound repair. Okay, so I'll see you in a minute when that's dry. Right, so I've repaired that, glued it as you saw with some Tamiya extra thin, and then I've gone round it with some of the black VMS super glue just to give it a bit of a backing, because that may well be holding the whole back of the floor down or something. At a later date we shall see. So basically we've got to fit this. So retrieve the assembly you've been working on. We've got that over here. There are 5 attachment points. So basically we're going to slot this in, slot it in like that. We're going to look at where the screw holes go, and then we're going to put 5 screws in. So we've got 4 of the 25s and 1 of the 08s. So we'll get that done now. So basically we're going to take our floor here, turn it over, okay, and then we're going to slot this into here. So it's going to go, okay, so we've got, as you can see, we've got recesses in here that are going to go over these pegs, and that hole there is going to go over that peg in the middle. So basically it's all going to go down on top like that. Alright, so that's going down in there. There we go, that's gone like that. So now we can take our screws and we'll put one in here to get back in the middle of the screen for you. Like that. Is this camera zoomed in? No. And then we'll get one into there. Just like so. Pull those down. So it's held in position. And then we'll get another two in. And then we'll put one of those PS08s in the centre. And there we go. So that's pack 67 done. So we've got two PS25s, two PS25s, one PS08, and a repaired bit there. So there we go. So that's all looking good. So that's our rear seat support. Let's see what pack 68 is going to bring us. Yeah, sounds great, doesn't it? Right, so pack 68. And I'm surprised no one has mentioned it yet. I put the sound of my Mustang on there, which is a 2017 Gen 2 5-litre Coyote. And yeah, it's basically a quad cam, 415 horsepower, 4,912, I think it's cc V8. Whereas these were a single cam overhead valve engine. And so it doesn't sound anything like one of these because it doesn't have the chop, what's called the chop. These will sound choppy when they're ticking over, that one doesn't, but there we go. I'm surprised no one's ever picked me up on that. So anyway, Havana's classic American cars. Look at this. In the wake of the Cuban Revolution in 1959, the American government showed its displeasure by imposing a total trade ban with its Caribbean neighbour. The ban came into effect in 1962, and those American cars that existed at the time were soon transformed into invaluable resources. Look at this, they're beautiful, aren't they? There's a 56 there. 56 Chevy. Is that that's a 48? I thought it was a 49. It says 48 there. Behind it on the left is a 55 Chevy. Where? I can't see a 55 Chevy in there. There we go. There's a Moscovich. And there's a Chevy there. That's a 50. That's a 55, isn't it? Or is that that's a 57? Anyway, so we've got parts here for pack 68. So it looks like it's just one piece of plastic. Ford Fiesta ST, stylish and sporty. I used to have one of these. I had that shape, but mine was a 2-door, or 3-door. In the US, you could only have a 5-door, which was a shame. My friend's son's got one of those and he absolutely loves it. That's one of my favourite Fiesta shapes, actually. I think it's beautiful. There we go. That's the one I had. Absolutely good. Gorgeous car. That was the one that wasn't quite so popular, but it was a Fiesta Turbo. God, those things knew how to rust. Wow. And then here's the new shape Fiesta, which I'm not a big fan of. No longer made, I don't think. I think they stopped production 2022, was it? I don't think it says here. I think they stopped production in about 2022, so maybe 23. Anyway, so let's have a look at the magazine, the parts. I'm sure that's a 56. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sure that's a 56 with the grille down there. The 55 had no chrome work, I don't think. Anyway, so interior rear platform. So what we'll do is we'll get the light on because we're back at the bench. So we've got pack 68, so we're going to have a platform and some screws. So more PS25 screws by the look of it. Yep. There we go. So we get this bag open, get the screws out. just like so. There we go. Oops, just dropped one on the floor. So there we are. So we had 4, so we'll need 3. So I'll pick that one up later. No, I'll pick it up now in case the puppy gets hold of it. Don't want that going through her, do we? There's one of her hairs I've picked up off the carpet. Right, so we've got all the parts as listed. Retrieve the interior as you said before. And then what we're going to do is slot this in and put 3 screws in there. So we're going to take this interior, turn it upside down. I'm going to put it on the magazines for protection. And then this unit here is going to go on there like that. Okay. And then we're going to take 3 of the PS25 screws. We've got 1 here. We'll put 1 in the center first. Just pull that down, and then as I thought we'd pick up all 3. And put 1 in the side. Remember, support this, guys. Don't just push down on it. Give this some support, because it's all pivoting around there and it'll snap if you don't give it some support. So that's those 3 screws there driven in. So much like the chassis, our interior is growing into a difficult to handle massive lump. Look at that. So that's basically the base for the rear seat, and then we've got our rear shelf here. So there we go. So that's going to be our lovely big rear parcel shelf. I wonder if we'll have speakers in there playing music. That's interesting. We've got little dimples in there for something or other. But as you can see, we're going to build up the rear seats. That's probably going to come next, and then we're going to have a carpeted rear shelf. And then we're no doubt going to fix this to the floor, and we're going to start building the body around it. But, as you can see, when you look at the size of this in my hands, it's massive. It's absolutely huge. I'll grab a rule. Quickly grab a rule, and this is an 18-inch rule. So you can see on here, this is about 16.5 inches long. So yeah, it's huge. Anyway, there we go. So, hope you enjoyed that. Like I said before, as I told you before in the one of the previous videos, if you do get bits of dust and stuff on your carpeting, piece of masking tape just picks it up easy. If you try and brush it, it just brushes it in. But I think we'll leave it till the end, because it's going to get covered in bits and pieces. Because I do all sorts of scale modelling here, sanding and all sorts, so there's all sorts of dust around. Alright, so there we are. That has been pack 68, and that is it for this month, I believe. Now, as I said at the beginning, when I did pack 64, part 37 I think it was, DeAgostini had an issue with the delivery. The courier refused to collect when they should have collected. Around about sort of before Christmas, about the 20th I think it was, because they had a massive backlog. So they didn't collect until the 7th of January. Now, they did say in the email that this won't affect things. So I don't know if what they mean is they're going to carry on sending every 4 weeks or 5 weeks, or whether, because I mean the last one I did was the 4th of December, and then we've got this batch which has come now, the 11th of January. So it's been longer than it should have been. So whether we get another one before the end of January, I do not know. So we shall see. But watch this space if you're enjoying this build. As I say before, in the description below the video, go and have a look. Go and find out about getting yourself one. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, it's a 6 scale Ford Mustang. I mean, can you imagine this on the coffee table? What a centerpiece, especially if you're a fan of the Mustang like I am. So there we go. And as I say, get on over to the DeAgostini's channel. They've got the brand new Ferrari 330 coming on board. That's available now for pre-order. And they've also got a NASCAR, I think it's a Chevrolet, they're doing as well. That's again, that's in 8 scale, as is the Ferrari. This is unusual. A 6 scale is very unusual. That was why I wanted to do it, because it's so absolutely huge. So anyway, I will see you all soon. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.